Good morning.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Good, good. Sorry, I just saw your Slack message about the Chase thing.
I don't worry. I already took care of it. It got
What
approved. Yeah,
what'd
it
you
got approved like a day later, whatever. So hopefully they qualify for the thing. If it doesn't, I'll call back, but I'm pretty sure it will.
okay.
Because I've got the renter's policy and the auto policy and my umbrella policy and all that stuff. I want to buy those. I already had to buy my current one renewed like a week ago, so I had to pay all that up front. It is amazing how much cheaper it is if you move to Indiana. My auto drops in by 53%.
Jesus.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. I look at things through percentages, right?
Yeah.
So my rent's not all that different actually. Probably overpaid a little bit, but I just didn't want to dick around with it
Yeah.
anymore. And it's a brand new townhouse, so I'm not gonna really complain about that. It's actually doesn't have as much storage as my it's bigger than what I have now, but actually has less storage.
Like garage storage?
Well, no, actually I have a two-car garage,
Okay.
so it'll be fine temporarily because I only have the one car. Can't decide what the hell I want for the next car, and I'm going to try to stretch it out as long as I can without buying another car. We'll just try to figure it out. Right
Yeah.
now, my wife doesn't; she won't have a job at the end of this next month, so I'm just like, I ain't buying a car until I know you're going to need to be driving around different places. So
Yeah.
anyway, so what's happening with you? Give me a quick update. Oh, we got
Yeah,
some one time.
so I realized that trying to get this entire funnel built by the end of the month was a little too ambitious because and it wasn't for lack of trying. It was I just don't know how to like or I'm still getting the hang of the 10x platform. Um
Yeah,
so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the next couple of weeks to actually fit because I don't want to rush this. I don't, especially not the funnel. Like
yeah.
the last thing I want is for like to have people like 50 people sign up and not have a single email captured or whatever. Um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna I'm gonna take my time on that.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I'm also going to start creating the advanced course. Yeah,
Not yet. Not
no,
yet. You don't know what should be putting in your advanced course yet.
okay,
See, put it this way: you get an outline, you get the automation. You basically get up the marketing side of it first.
hmm
See if anybody signs up. If no one signs up, you don't have a marketable program to your niche right now.
right,
You want to work on that message and get some income in. You know what I
okay.
mean? And then you can always think of ways like you can jot down some ideas. I might want to do it for an advanced course, right? Then we'll talk about it. We
Yeah.
might come up with some other ideas you can throw in there as well, right?
hmm
But right now, begin with where you started. And one of the things I pulled up today that I thought about kind of going over, it was it's examples of kind of like what to do on a lower ticket offer, but you can take that same concept on. It was kind of walk you through some of the steps you might want to, have. And then what I can do is I can take this document, I can drop it in there for you to take a look at.
Okay.
Because I think that would be helpful. I agree with you kind of as I said in the very beginning, there's a lot of steps involved and there's that anxiousness. And so on one hand, you've actually taken really good strides. You may not feel like it, but you're actually taking a lot. I've been on programs with people for 2 years that haven't done what you've done in 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And they spend a hell of a lot more money to be part of that
Yeah.
program. Some of them have spent like $60,000 and they still haven't done shit, you
Wow.
know? Yeah, it's amazing. Um, Now on the flip side, um, when you're putting some stuff out, you should be spending a lot of time building your community. You need to have an audience, right?
Yeah.
You can have a
And
course to know numbers, spend the time creating content, getting email lists going, building up that email list, getting bigger numbers in that respect, deliver value, deliver value, deliver value. That's what you should be doing a little bit every single day right now.
Mhm.
Take 20 minutes a day, not a lot, like
Yeah.
20 minutes. Just drop something of value every day in your social channels, invite people out, join other travel groups, comment on their things, like 20, 30 minutes. That's it. You don't need to do more than that, but you want to find wherever your target market is hanging out.
Mhm.
You go there, look at what people are commenting, go to the comments, go, hey, that was a great thing. Hey, I just got this. hey, I actually have a site. Actually, I have a business. This might be helpful to you. Give them something. Okay. Give them a document. Give them your CAG. You could literally just go through and just, if you literally invited 20 people a day, just say, hey, listen, saw your comment, totally understand it. Thought, I actually, I have something that I think might be really helpful for you. Nothing for sale, just something I think it might be really helpful here. Click a link, it's free down, take it on me. Something like that where you're just inviting out and there is nothing for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're not selling them anything. You're just trying to do that. And what they're going to do is they go to that and then they'll see that, then they reconnect to your group. Then they start seeing your posts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You do that. And while then you're spending a few hours a week getting this stuff figured out, how you want to promote. And then you've got a captive audience that might be actually interested in jumping onto your program. And then you might even want to consider doing like a 1 day, like a webinar to the starting point. Ideally, challenges work best, but that's more, planning at this point. And the reason I say the lower ticket offer is because you're not a known entity yet.
Right.
So on one hand, you can always have the personal done for you type pricing. And you can always say, hey, listen, and because, we're putting in, we have big expansion plans. Been doing this for a while, but and you can be full transparency. Listen, full transparency is something I just set up on the side because it's a passion of mine. I figured out I hacked this. I figured out the formulas that most people just don't know. Even the people out there selling it don't know. And it's something I've liked doing on the side to help people out. I realize there's a business here, and I've been helping people now for a few years. And I'm in the process of growing it out. So as one of our, kind of founding members, as one of our, whatever you want to call it, what did I used to call mine? I'm trying to think what I used to call it. You're part of the foundations group or something. I don't know what the hell I called it, something like that. Said moving forward, it's going to cost a lot more than that. Right now, we're only charging this, and I'm even willing to do this for you. Because even spending a little extra time right now, all of this is good data for you. It's getting out of theory into practicality. That makes sense. So I would, I agree with that getting this thing going. And what if it took you, this is going to sound, it's not going to, should not take this long by any means. If it actually takes this long, I might have an issue with you. But just say it took a year and you got the foundation going. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you got some clients coming in a little bit here and there, but you're really figuring this stuff out. And then you really launched it. I'm not saying it's going to take that long. It shouldn't. Yeah. But I'm saying that's worst case scenario. Something happens. You can't do anything for like 3 months or whatever, and you're doing that stuff, but you're still getting the information. You're still getting little pieces, getting that put together. You've got the sounding board. We work out and kind of fine tune it. So that way you're going to be that much further ahead with a lot of the stuff we're walking through with you far faster. And, and with a lot less trial and error that could take you 2, 3, 4, 5 years to figure out some of the results you want to have. You're getting a lot of that stuff, cutting out a lot of the bullshit that you don't even know doesn't work, but you hear about it online. Oh, well, I saw so-and-so doing this. Let me tell you what the details are behind that, cut through the smoke and mirrors. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So did you want to go into, I can answer a couple questions for you. Right now, I'll take advantage of this kind of, personal coaching that you're getting. Or I can kind of get into some of the steps that you want to look at when you're doing kind of a lower ticket offer. Now, this is originally designed for like that $97 a month offer. Yeah. But I can always show you something like this too, if you want.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I guess the other thing that I was going to focus on is also just setting, writing. I have like zero experience with email marketing, zero. Mm-hmm. So I'm probably going to the other thing is write out like a campaign, 5 or 6 emails and send that to you and get your thoughts. But that was also one thing I was going to focus on.
Yeah. Where most people get a lot of their ideas when they're getting started is you got to put your voice on, but you look at the format and look at what other people are doing that you think are having success with it. That's why I've sent some of that stuff with you from the Andy Cantus to the different people that I've seen out there, because he's been trained.
Sure.
And there's things I don't agree with, but overall, the format, how we set it up, the messaging, the call to actions, he's been trained. Yeah. And I've watched a couple of this guy's video. He ain't that bright, so he's been trained by somebody. Okay.
Exotic car hacks guy, PJ.
Yeah. Well, PJ's that guy's a hustler, and he knows what he's doing there. But
I think he must have had trained.
Of course, everyone has training.
Yep.
Trainers have trainers, doctors have doctors,
Yeah.
therapists have therapists. I said this to Terry when I remember when I hired her, because I've had different coaches. And I said, my dad actually gives an example of this. So my dad led thousands of people in his career, right?
Yeah.
Raised around some of the biggest leadership trainers in the world. And he started going back to church like 20 years ago. And he
Hmm.
starts going through his reading it, and he's funny. He's like, I thought John Maxwell and Zig and all the guys, they're just stealing it out of here out of the Bible. It's like half of the stuff's in Proverbs. They're pulling out of here. They're not that bright. They're just putting their own spin on what somebody else said. He says, so whether it's Zig said or I said, then I spin it in my way, he says, but they're taking it from God. He goes, I don't care who it is. Everyone seems to be plagiarizing everybody else. I said, is it plagiarized? He goes, actually, it's not. Here's the challenge that I have a hard time with. I have had up until recently, I've had a hard time with leaning into where you're trying to find your voice, right? We're in a world of comparison. The comparison game is freaking thrown at us every single day, right? A
Yeah.
lot of what the foundation of your messaging is really about be better, travel nicer, look at all the things everybody wants to have, right? And yet, some people, exotic car hacks, travel hacks, lifestyles of the rich and famous back from the 80s and 90s, and all these other crazy HGTV shows about I'll be happy when it's kind of this destination happiness, right? At the core of all of that is we're trying to create an emotional response to what marketing is triggers in some feeling of lack. Really, if you really get it down to it, it's really
Yeah.
you're feeling some sense of lack, or it's either it's like it could be better, but contentment and marketing don't necessarily jive well, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's also I can get into a psychological basis why I think it's also one of the biggest issues of foundation of humankind right now. That's a whole other story that has nothing to do with this. So, but what you're trying to touch on now, I look at, for example, which I'll talk to you about. I decided in the last second, I booked a trip I haven't gotten the hotel yet where we're going to stay, but I booked a trip to Hawaii for October. Right. So this is prime example where I want you to help me and then use me as a testimonial, interview me, stick me on your freaking site. Right.
Yeah.
Now what I did is that a couple of months ago, Southwest had another deal where, hey, if you hadn't had a card, whatever, apply now. I already have the business card and the personal card. I can't do it. I said, hey, apply on that, $4,000. We'll give you a companion pass through next year. I was like, shit, honey, do that. See if it works. So she did. And for that, I was like, okay, do that. Well, then Southwest through it. Now it is freaking Southwest to Hawaii, however. But I looked at it. So between her companion pass and a little bit of points she had and their sale, I'm flying. Obviously, we have a layover in, I don't know, either Vegas or Sacramento or somebody, LA, I'm not sure, someplace for a couple hours, break it up. For $300, including the tax fees for me and everything, total for two of us to fly round trip to freaking Hawaii. I mean,
Yeah.
and that was using a total of 25,000 points. Not even. Actually, it wasn't even 25,000. It was like 19,000 points. And then the $5.60 that I had to pay. I was trying to do this as a surprise, but I had to log into my wife's account and didn't dawn me. I'm like, oh shit, she's getting email notifications of all this. I was like, oh well, so much for the 10-year surprise, And then now looking at lodging is all over the board, right?
Yeah.
So my point is that's a prime example of now I did the Chase card got approved, I think like a day or two later or whatever. I did call and left a message, but anyway, it's come through. So I'll have the 80,000 points there. I'll knock that out probably this month, get that kind of cash charge. And then do I leverage those for, hotels? Do I leverage those for maybe another international flight? The reality is I'm going to have a shit ton of expenses over the next 6 months. Ton of them, a lot more than I was actually expecting. Because I have to get my own insurance now. There is no company insurance anymore. There's no education. So I got to pay that. That just kicked up another $1,500, $1,800 a month before deductibles and everything else, another $14,000 for deductible. Something stupid, right? Then a car payment. Then the move, then some travel back and forth to Chicago and Wisconsin. Then, so I figured it's probably going to cost me another $30,000 this year, 40,000 maybe. Now I'll find ways to shrink that down because I'm good at that. However, so if I can have a card that can charge some of this stuff and leverage those things out for us, I'd like to do again. We've talked about this. More travel for less money is more important to me than having, business class. Business class is a like to have for me. It's not a
Yeah.
gotta have. Being able to go for like now, if I could use my Southwest points to actually get a freaking hotel room, which I don't know if I can. Can't I found their rewards
You
thing.
can, it's that value.
It looks like shit.
It's
I don't know if there's a way to
value.
transfer Southwest points anywhere. I don't know if you can. I don't think you can
No,
you?
no. You can redeem them as if they were cash, but it's generally not good value.
Yeah, it looks like that way. Yeah. Because I'm down to like 180,000 points or something like that with them. Anyway, so man, I can pay for it, just pay for the trip, these different places. But there again, now I look at hotels and look what the hell I'm getting at a hotel, even with my Marriott points or, I don't have enough points with the hotels. But I'm like, okay, if I pay 600 a night, 500 to 800 a night at a regular hotel, I could do a Residence Inn on the beach. At least that's a Residence Inn. Then we can buy some food, we do that and we can go out to eat. Or do I do like a Airbnb, VRBO, look at some other sites? I jumped on some other things. So I was wasting a lot of time on that over the weekend. Um, when you look at all that, I'm giving you that now. I want to get back to the business here in a second, but I'm laying some of that out for you because that'll be a time we can have a conversation and talk about that. Let's use this as a case study for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I blast it out. You can even do a quick little 5-minute interview, 10-minute interview. Post that up on your site. Get that out on YouTube. You can backlink this. Hey, listen, here's a case somebody I just did recently. Is his 10-year anniversary for his wife. Hear from him. It's third-party endorsement talking about you, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want other people talking about you. And the way you get other people talking about you is you give them a bunch of stuff, a lot of value. Like, wow. And they say, oh, hey, and by the way. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So did I answer your questions?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. All right. So let's go into a couple things here.
Actually, hold on. I did have one question. Going back to what you were talking about earlier about the plagiarizing, whatever. I'm not gonna lie, the main reason, if I'm being honest, it came to me a couple days ago. The main reason I struggled with executing them, and it like the closer I get to finishing this course, the more the feeling comes up. But I have massive imposter syndrome. And it's just the closer I get to finishing this funnel, the more the stronger the feeling is.
I understand. Good news is that's actually a good thing. Here's why. It means that you've got a little bit of humility in you, where if you had no imposter syndrome and you have something that really isn't not yet proven in the course and you don't have a little bit of doubt in there, then you got a degree of narcissism we'd have to address. Honestly. Because I have imposter syndrome. Terry, my coach, has imposter syndrome. Everyone has it. It is a common feeling. Now, remember when I told you that the phrase I created in my 30s when I went through all that real estate stuff and digging out from all that and how I got taken? I said, how did I get taken? It wasn't until I realized, man, I allowed greed to come in. And why did I allow greed to come in? Because I had this inner insecurity that I'm trying to show the world that even though I could get compliments from people and say, wow, that really helped me here, really helped me there. It was great. Like, I'm like, yeah, but that was how my mind worked. Yeah, but I would push those away. In one hand, I wanted the feedback, but when I got it, I tended to push it away. Okay. Because deep down, there's an insecurity that feels that. And so what I used was, and then that's why I really thrived in sports. That's why I thrive. I mean, we're all looking for like half the time, I think as a little kid trying to get his dad's opinion on a lot, approval on a lot of this shit. A lot of that comes from that, right? And so when you get into the psychology of that, and then you get to the point where it is you front and center. Also, there's a reason I don't lead by John Sadeh. I lead with New Path.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. another advantage, not only for the down the road, if you want to sell your company at some point, it's better not to be about you, even though you are the face of it in the beginning. I created a phrase. That's why, whether it be the Rolex or the Mont Blanc pen we had and all the stupid symbols of success, the golden handcuffs that corporations put on you to make you feel like, when the president says to me when I'm 27 or 28 years old running this region, turned down a couple other GM to run cities and stuff. He goes, well, I heard you turned down Tulsa. He goes, why'd you do that? I said, because it's Tulsa. I told him, I go, it's Tulsa. I don't want to live in Tulsa, which is now actually a pretty cool town for what I understand, but not 20 years ago. And he's like, what about this? He goes, yeah, the Toronto would have been market opening. But I think I even knew back then I'm better at going into an existing organization and improving it than I'm starting it from scratch. Right. The reason being of that, as I got ahead, why did I get taken later? I was constantly worked my ass off to prove to other people to get outside validation that I am enough. Right.
Yeah.
So when I went through my recovery phase of financial, said, hi, my name's John. I'm a recovering imageaholic from my 20s. Okay. That's the phrase I created. And underlying that is this imposter syndrome, which many times start. Now, when you get into a business like this and that's why the sooner you get feedback from other people, you will need that. That's why coaches are so incredibly important. Sometimes I'm a cheerleader more than I'm a coach. Okay. And there's times where whenever I'm working something, I have to decide, this is a hug or kick in the ass moment? I don't know which way. Is this educate, regulate, or motivate? I'm not sure which way I want to go here. Right. And so with you, that is natural. Now, the good news is once you start getting it out there and getting some feedback and getting people to put that in, you might need to at times. And I've heard that, by the way, Tony Robbins has imposter syndrome. Believe it or not, everyone does to some degree. If not, they're just fucking narcissists. Excuse my language. I'm recording this sometimes. They're freaking narcissist, right? So that is good. Now, when you get your program out there, that's why I'm saying don't do an advanced one. That's actually going to probably trigger it more because you haven't proved the base model yet.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't start making Lexuses. They started making Toyotas. They worked their way into Lexus. Genesis took a number of years before it became its own brand. Right?
Yeah.
It was just a high-end Hyundai. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Take those kind of the same example. Make sense? All right. So as we're getting into this, when you start thinking of the products, that's why if we're getting more value, getting more feedback, then you're trying to get more value, then you're getting feedback. It's giving you confirmations along the way. These little tidbits, these little seeds are being planted that will germinate into other things. Okay.
Yep.
So when you're thinking of like a lower ticket offer, when you think of, obviously it's a recurring, let's say you have a recurring membership type piece. We've talked about that. Basically, when you're talking about like payment installments over a longer course, it teaches how to do something important. So a lot of these memberships or the longer term, lower ticket things are how-tos, right? And then it provides ongoing support, 6 to 12 month duration, renewal. Maybe you have renewals on that or something like that. You can do like a $97 a month for 6 months, or you can do, it's $1,000 paid off, it's $1,000 up front, or it's $97 a month. There's a program I'm looking at that they're trying to do in Indiana and Chicago. It's called the Amplified Prosperity Network. They're trying to charge $100 a month or $1,000 up front for the year. My question is, they're delivering lots of stuff, but I don't know how valuable it is personally. And I'm not seeing numbers grow, even though they just officially launched it a few months ago. I don't see numbers going up. I don't see the value is there.
Yeah.
And then I started listening to the people that are, the one guy that's kind of behind, I'm listening, he's trying to ultimately lean people into buying his product. So I don't know how pure that motivation is, which I do believe this. If you're really just, you got to make profit, but you got to deliver value first. That's got to be your focus.
Yeah.
And if that's right, the profit will follow. If you're really trying to saying the words, but your motivation is how to squeeze money out of people, it won't work, or it'll be temporary and fall. That's what most programs are. Now, you're not that kind of person. All right. So I'm not worried about that. You want to, you can do lower ticket programs for like payment installments for higher ticket programs. If you ever do payment installments, charge more.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a monthly membership club, I mean, you can have that. It has to have rich features, such as like a weekly live Q&A. You can have webinars, access to via like a forum. You can have premium resources that they would normally have to buy themselves, separately if they join the membership. Okay. That's one thing to think about. You can have a mastermind forum membership site for, it's only clients only. So, for example, the rapid revenue growth group was going to be one where I'm like, I don't want to do that right now. So, but I could make that just for clients. When you do challenges, eventually you'll want to do a challenge. Okay, that's third quarter, fourth quarter type thing. Get one of those out, three-day challenge that you do for 7 days, which is interesting. The whole strategy behind it. But the idea that lead them down value, offer the program. There's the offer at the end. And then they can be part of you have a Facebook group just for that. It's live until that sucker's over, then everybody's out. So they're live in that group. That's where you kind of get, captive groups to work together when they're trying to do some programs there. Another thing you can do a limited member group coaching program, kind of like what this is. You can do like a coaching club. Okay. You can have a 60-day, 90-day. If you do a program, by the way, 8 weeks is the ideal retention time and engagement time. 12, you get less engagement. 6, you don't get quite as much. 6 to 8. 8's been kind of the magic formula in more recent years that is the best. People they'll jump on that because it's not viewed as too long. 90 days, there's something about 90 days. Even though how many times do they say stuff, 3 weeks, everything becomes a habit. Do something every day for 3 weeks. There's something about the what's the law of three. Yet when it comes to courses, it's 8 weeks seems to be the one that converts.
So are you talking about courses or like one-on-ones?
Courses. Talking about when you're trying to do courses and stuff. Okay. I'm bouncing with some different things you can do. These are different ways you can set up lower ticket pieces. You can have one where you could have hey, 8 weeks. We're going to go through 8 weeks you can do it live if you wanted to. It's once a week. You know what I mean? I'm going to go live and then you record it. Out of that, now here's the advantage of some of the freaking AI stuff that's out there. You can take that stuff, whether Otter AI or some other transcript software, transcribe it all. You can go through and say, hey, this really, you can look at the comments, you can look at that, and you can dissect it and say, boom, you're literally creating your course as you're doing it live. And by the way, when you start a course, you can have the first week or two. Then the rest of it, you got another week to figure out the next one. Got a week to figure out the next one. You don't have to. The reality is, and everyone that will teach you, do not create an 8-week course up front. Have an outline of what you want to cover. Get like maybe the first week or two, then promote the sucker. See if anyone's even going to buy it. You're talking about what you're going to cover. And then and if they sign up, then you got 1 or 2. Then after that, you got 2 weeks to work on the next week and the next week and the next, you know what I mean? You can knock stuff out. And if you're teaching it live, see where the advantage of teaching it live in the first couple of times? Yes. You're getting some feedback from it, and then you're getting live feedback from people like, oh, wow, this is great. And what you're doing is while you're teaching, you write down, they really took, this one kind of jumped out. If you have your points, what I used to do is I'd have certain points, I'd highlight it as I was going along. Or I'd print it off sometimes and I would, I'd highlight it with a pen. It depends how you want to do it. So that way you're not going to remember every little point, or I'd go back and watch it and see what kind of comments I got afterwards.
Yeah.
This will combat a lot of that initial concerns. Okay. Actions overcomes fear, right?
Yeah.
So, you can we talk about a webinar club, like a monthly training webinar. You can do a combination of like minimal coaching plus products or resources. Okay. What you could do is, hey, one of the way you add value is if you register for this course now, if you buy this course now, we're doing a limited time, you'll get a free we're going to throw in a complimentary personalized consultation. 15, 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. You can't do really anything in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
30-minute consultation. Okay, great. Because if they say yes and they get that, they say, and what you do is when you have that consultation, here's how I would do it if I were you. If they bought your program, make sure you go through that program and then bring to me, what I'd like to discuss is any trip you have upcoming, either you're going to take or you very much want to take in the next 6 to 12 months. I wouldn't necessarily even say the next 30 to 60 days because that may work against you. They may not have enough time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to think about your own. So I say in the next 6 to 12 months, a honeymoon, family vacation, getaway, big sporting event, something in Europe. You know what I mean? That family overseas, World Cup, and you can throw out a bunch of different things like that, right? So that's, and we will, in 30 minutes, we're going to go over exactly what you need to do. I'll walk you through what you need to do in the best way based on and then before that, say, I need you to complete these modules before you schedule that call.
Yeah.
Complete these modules. So you're getting a lot of information up front so you can get right to it in that call. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that normally says these consultations are normally, 197, $197. We're waiving that. There's another value or whatever dollar amount you want to put to it, right? If you're usually 3 or 4 calls, and it's usually $997, say, well, normally this is a $297 call. We're going to waive that. There's your value add. Okay. And they get that because if they join the webinar and they sign up, you get this. One thing I'm going to tell you, if you have a limited time offer, be honest with it and cut it off whenever you say that time frame is going to cut off.
Yeah.
What do most people do?
They just keep it going.
Yeah. Now, so what do most people think?
It's not gonna go away. There's no urgency.
Yeah. And there's also an integrity issue there. Oh, they're just like everybody else. When you do cut it off, say, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. That program is no, I was serious. It was done at Sunday at midnight. Really? Yeah, it's gone. Oh, but I saw it. Sorry. I'm like, oh, that also remember if they really wanted to do it, that fear of loss. Say, listen, now what I can do, if you let it come back, we can do this. And the normal price is this. And I can offer this for you. You don't get this, this, and this, but I'm still happy to do that for him. Well, all right. Are you doing it again? I might. If we do, I'll let you know. So then if you do it again and you stay that person on, now here's how you stay up on an email campaign. They get into your list. What you do is just create a weekly email. Think about it, it's 52 emails. And that's the advantage of, you can get some general ideas, run it through one of your Bard or ChatGPT or something like that. Go back, put your own spin on it. Don't just take what they freaking tell you. Put your spin on it. And the reason when I say look at the Andy Cantu is you don't plagiarize what they're saying. I want you to look at the format in which they're doing it, how he's doing, look at where he's saying something, when he puts a call to action. There's usually a couple of call to actions in there. Just look at that. All of that can be set up and you can jump on a call with Javi. He'll walk you right through what to do there. Okay. I'll do that with my one-on-one clients, but you can just go through that. He can set that up for you. Right.
Well,
if you have it set up, what's that?
So I did reach out to Javi and he sent me a link that included a $97 payment to get on a call with him.
That could be.
Yeah. Okay. That was the other thing. That's also why I'm just like, I can't really spend 97 right now. So I'm going to figure this out. Fine.
Put the stuff out there for him. But again, that's why I want to start getting you some basic steps. An email campaign is, and I believe his system has how to on all of it. Yeah. Right. And that's why I'm also why I've gone through and read a lot of your stuff and gone through and try to give some specific feedbacks and stuff like that, which normally isn't part of this, but I'm just doing it because I like you and I want to help you get through this, get those steps faster. So what you can do is, I'll tell you an example like what Terry does and what I've done in the past. You could take a day and you write out your emails for the month or the quarter. Think about it. It's like 12 to 14 emails.
Yeah.
Right? Those emails could be, and then you could do a daily post if you wanted to. Right? You can do a daily post or whatever you start, just do it consistently. I don't care if it's 3 times a week, daily, however you want to do it. Facebook, Instagram for you. You can do TikTok. I don't personally, I'll never put TikTok in any of my devices. I don't trust it. It's been proven time and time again. They're just data mining shit.
No,
You know,
I took it off. I took it off. I'm not doing TikTok.
yeah, yeah. So, Instagram and Facebook is, I think, is pretty much all you need. And quite frankly, you can do it one and post on both.
Yeah.
Um, you do that through your business page, right? You can invite people to your private group. So then what you can do is in one day you sit down and you knock out your stuff. You can go into your system, put those emails into a campaign, right? And then as people come in, you tag them to that campaign. So, and then that campaign is scheduled to go out on a certain time every week. So if somebody comes in on Tuesday, Monday is your time to do it. You just, okay, it goes out at Monday at such and such time, Monday at 6 or 5 or whatever time you think people are looking at this stuff. Right. So what you do is then once you write your emails, you could also take that email, you could shoot a quick video with the same stuff. Okay. And now it's a video. And you post a video in your Facebook. Comes through your Facebook. Okay. You upload it into Facebook. Don't do Facebook Live. Upload it into Facebook. Upload it into YouTube. I got on YouTube. Okay. You can backlink it. You can do different things. One content used 3 or 4 different places.
Yeah. So I mean, I have those set up. Actually, funny enough, I just kind of set up like my lead generation strategy for the foreseeable future, which actually it worked pretty well in the past. So I'm just gonna keep going with it. But yeah, it's Instagram Reels,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook Reels and posts, and Shorts, YouTube Shorts.
Yep. Yep. And don't, whenever you do a video, you need to put the content, the the transcript on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And make sure you do that. Honestly, I don't know how to do any of that. Whenever I do it, I have Christy do it or something like that. I never do any of it.
No, I'm pretty familiar with Premiere Pro and comfortable with it, so I just do it on there.
Oh, nice. I have all of that stuff. I don't know how to use any of it. Dude, I literally looked at it. I was looking at some stuff today. I go, Jesus, I'm still spending like 1,000 a month on shit. I gotta just cancel. This is crazy. Stuff I wasted money on. Some of it was using for a while. So, all right. You could have one-time offers. I'm going to give you a course that could be a course that teaches you how to blah blah blah. That's like a one-time offer. Lifetime grandfathered membership or a low-cost monthly club with Richard. You can offer, hey, this will be the lowest this club will ever be. Access to the resource and the recordings to make it clear there's going to be no new content unless they upgrade to the new club. That could be another idea. A package kit containing all the documents or templates needed to run a particular type of business. And it's one idea. Kickstart kit to get your customer launched. Here's a $97, travel kickstart. And if you want to have the more detailed thing, and then you can join, if you join this, you get access to a private group where I'm constantly talking about, because things are changing all the time. Delta just made another change, and Southwest is making change. And then, hey, there's this 80,000 point bonus thing going on with Chase right now. Jump on it so they can see that. I mean, I was getting it from 2 different places. Well, that's only, I forget about it. I don't think about it. I'm like, do I want to do it? I don't know if I want another card. And I was like, no, why the hell not?
So Instagram, I think after you get to a certain amount, and I'm trying to figure out how many followers that is or how you can qualify, they do offer a subscription option. And I kind of wanted to test it out there because you can offer it for pretty cheap and test it out. And I see some other creators do that where it's like, okay, there's like a special Q&A for subscribers only,
Mm-hmm.
or you get like news items like that, like, oh, there's an 80,000 point bonus, or KLM is offering a 25% transfer bonus, things like that. Give that to the subscriber base only on Instagram.
Yeah, the problem is that it's not you want to have a captive audience, right? And you can do some of that out there, but if you're putting it out there, there's got to be some value to be part of your group. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's it. You get the updates as they come.
Okay. Now, what I don't know, so what I would do is write that out, the details and where to find that out. Send it to me. I can run it by Terry. She knows all about that. Her freaking team does all that.
Okay.
Her Facebook got hacked, her Facebook group, and so in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, she's up to 37,000 members in 2 weeks. Three
Oh
weeks back
wow.
in her new Facebook group. Instagram raised by like 60,000 followers in like 2 weeks. Now she had a big following base. It was almost, she says, it was a pain in the ass. Can't believe I lost it. There's because they hacked it, and Facebook is an algorithm. You can't get anybody. So I had to start over. She says, but in many ways, she says this has actually been a good thing. Now, very costly for the couple of weeks because that was one of our biggest lead gen structures. However, you can do that if you put that together and send that over to me. I can run a buyer and say, hey, Terry, got a question on this. What do you know about this? And how, are you guys using it and whatnot? She usually knows all those answers.
Okay.
Okay. Another thing you can do, I'm looking at some of the stuff that might make sense. You can do like surveys, do some surveys. People sometimes offer a $25 gift card to anyone that, if you fill this out, we're going to do a drawing for a $25 gift card. You got to spend a little bit of money sometimes,
Yeah.
not a lot. Again, low and no cost. That's my big thing is low and no cost because you're getting data. And from that, and that everyone that fills out, you can offer them a special, maybe say, listen, hey, because you filled that out, I want to make an offer to you, or, I'm doing this privately for a free 15-minute consultation for you taking the time to fill this thing out. If you had 30 people that took you up on that, if you really think about it, you're talking like 7 hours of work over a month. Like go
Yeah.
over it, but think of the data you can get, the relationships you can build. Somebody's going to convert out of that. Agreed?
Yeah.
You have 30 quick conversations. Do you can convert at least one of them?
Hope so.
Yeah, I think you can. All right. Workshops, you can do journals, you can have recordings, private recordings. Anyway, so these are certain things that you want to think about as far as could be low ticket stuff. Now, in your private group, I haven't done this because I have not done a full on Facebook, campaign or strategy. But I look at those that have, they'll have a lot of stuff in their media and resources. It's all in there. And it's free. You can download it as just being part of that group. Now, this is being part of that group. It's free to be part of that group. The reality is you can still use those stuff with your paid clients because 95% of people never go to the freaking resources and never do anything with them. Or they have them, they don't know, they don't have the personal accountability and coaching that actually makes those things work. So I wouldn't even worry about some of that stuff you can put out there. Throw a few checklists, throw a few things out there in your Facebook group. Your reels are good. That's going to be big, or reels or shorts, whatever you want to do them. But I think the email campaign is people still do read emails. You need to have email. You need to have, if you're going to do social media, it's all about capturing the data and staying in contact with them in multiple places. Okay. Now, what you do with email, what's really nice about email, what you can't get I know there's more metrics within Facebook out studio it's YouTube. I'm trying to think what it is. Within Facebook, they have a lot of metrics. I don't know about if you can track how many opens, how long they watch, do they watch the full minute. By the way, under 1 minute. Don't go over. I've seen a lot of them will cap out at 1 minute, but literally like 58 seconds is ideal.
Yeah, no, my reels, I try to keep them under 30 seconds maximum.
Yeah. Up to a minute is fine, but just under a minute.
Yeah.
There's a big difference there. And 30 seconds is fine too. The key is you've got to look at just doing stuff. Like, for example, there's one guy I was talking to, he got talked into doing a weekly podcast. No one's watching it. He's not putting any money behind advertising, not doing any, it's a waste of fucking time and money. And he's paying somebody to host it and coach him. I'm like, you want my honest opinion? I think you're absolutely wasting your time, money, and focus. You don't know what you're doing. It doesn't really make money. You're trying to do this because you're trying to talk about the business that you're in, but you really want to be a leadership coach, but you're trying to do this within the title industry. This doesn't make sense. right? So for you, you can do that stuff, but get an email campaign. You've got enough stuff. Just literally bite-sized pieces. One day, 2 hours, you can knock out a month to a quarter's worth of content. You're very good about quickly getting stuff out there and getting stuff done. Put it all out there, get it done. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And then get it, but then use that multiple ways. Create multiple reels out of it. Okay. And then once you start getting some followers, then you can have like a 1-day workshop. At the end of the workshop, there's an offer. The offer could be have a conversation, consultation. Hey, free $300 value. It's a free $300 value. I'm doing that right now to help you put into place, give you some tips to save thousands in your next trip. We can 3x, 5x the value of this. You can say that, put guarantees on what you do. If you follow these things, you are guaranteed to 10x your investment in the next year to 2 years, depending on your travel schedule, right? 5x, whatever it might be. No one's doing that. Andy doesn't do that. Other guy I saw that's not doing that. They should. Because if you do that, your conversions will get better. Your marketing expense comes down. There's a combination of, the law of large numbers.
Yeah.
That's great. And you want to use those, but yet it's kind of like saying, well, I got lots of leads. I'm like, okay, fine. Did you have how many are new clients? How many actually were qualified prospects? And actually how many became clients? I don't give a shit if you give me 1,000 leads. I'd rather have 100 qualified prospects that closed 12 new clients versus 1,000 leads and I closed 4 clients. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so right now, if I were you, what I would be doing, you can get your system set up to do it. And it'll probably take you longer just to set it up than it will be to write the stuff.
Right.
But once it's done, it's done. Okay. And then maybe next month you write some more. You can always have you should just have an ongoing list of stuff you can do. Eventually, when you start making enough money, you're going to hire someone to do this for you.
Yeah.
Okay. But right now, you don't need to hire anybody for it. Money's tight. Fine. Then let's do this. Let's write the stuff out, write 12 emails, 14 emails. That'll cover the 31-day month. Right. And then I would focus on summer related stuff. Think about when they're going to be coming up, the fall, back to school. Think about that kind of stuff. August, September, people are going back to hey, you want to get that last family trip in before school starts? That could be those later emails. Just spend this week, write those out, upload them. I'll take a look at them and then get those into your system. You can schedule out when they drop. Okay. And then when you schedule out when they drop, then they're set up. Then what you do is you can download contacts from do you use Gmail? What do you use? I can't remember what email service do you use? G Suite?
Yeah.
Okay. So very easily integrates with the 10X system. I would upload all of your effing contacts into your database if you haven't already. Have you done that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Do that this week.
Okay.
Download all of your contacts from your phone and from your G Suite. I don't know if they're all synced. Your iCloud, whatever. Download them all into a CSV file, and you can upload it right into the system. I know there's videos on how to do that in the system, and there's videos online how to do it if you don't know how to do it. Even I figured it out, and I'm, I need a pause before I say this thing. Right, going back to my recording now. I couldn't put that in, but I'm like, dude, that's so wrong, but it was funny. So that I think will give you, if you got that part done, if you got some emails, got them in your system, and then every contact you get, spend literally, if you block out whatever time of day you think is best for you, end of the day, beginning of the day, middle of the day, whatever you think you need, schedule a time that is your company's time.
Yeah.
Treat it like a job in one respect. Block it out in your calendar. This is when I work on, and then any meeting for your job, for personal, doesn't overlap that. I mean, I used this phrase with somebody a little bit older the other day. I said, yeah, I said, think in Franklin Planner days. This is an ink-based meeting. When you wrote in ink in your Franklin Planner, that sucker wasn't changing, man. Everything else was pencil, you know. I know I'm aging myself, but I tell you, God, I was more organized back then, I think, than I am now with all this technology. Um,
Yeah.
so, number one, do you have a set time that you work on your business every day?
I don't know if it's a set time, but I mean, I work on it. I would say I do actually. I would say between 8 to 10, 8 to 11 in the morning.
Okay. Pick a time, and that is your time, and you need to have a time you start and a time you stop.
Yeah.
Put yourself on a time. So you need to be able to, when you're there for your job, work for your job. You got to honor your time with your work,
Yeah.
because you don't want that to impact while you're trying to, because psychologically you'll start to sabotage both unconsciously.
Okay.
You don't want to do that. Honor the space for your job. Your job is paying your bills. Your job is financing your future right now.
Yeah.
So do the best you can there while you're there. But when it comes to your job, like what I used to, when I first got going, I said, all right, there's a period of time where it had to start after 5:30. Usually it was closer to 6, like 6 to 8. For me, for a period of time, anything that was John related, especially when I was in corporations, it was 6 to 8 and 6 to 8. Because 8 to 6, I didn't have control over it totally.
Yeah.
I was at the mercy of a lot of other people coming at me all the time. So it was 6 to 8, 6 to 8. Was that convenient? No, it's all I had. But you know what? You study the most successful people in the world. That's pretty much what they did too. 4 to 6, 4 to 7 in the morning. They all get up early. Every person, I swear to God, you hear them, oh, no, now I wake up when I'm done sleeping like 9 o'clock. Yeah, but that's not how they started. Like I was up at 4:30 every morning when everyone else is sleeping. You hear story after story after story of that. But when is your company open for business? And that's where you got to schedule these things. Your meetings need to be scheduled during these times. You should have set times when people schedule consultations with you,
Yeah.
only at certain hours.
Yeah, that's what I have. So mine, it's scheduled to be, I only take calls between 3 and 6 or
Okay.
3. No, sorry, 3 and 8.
Okay. And but can that conflict with your work?
No. So the vast majority, I'm very fortunate that I actually don't have a lot of meetings at work. Um, so that's the thing. This job doesn't pay enough to live in New York, but the freedom that it affords is amazing. So
Okay.
which is why I'm staying here.
Okay.
I mean, it pays fine. Like in Chicago, it was great. Here, it's like okay,
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, most of my calls usually between 11 and like 3 during the day.
So what are you doing? What do you do most of the day for work?
So I do well. The last couple weeks, it's been a lot of waiting,
Okay.
but I mostly I write tests,
Okay.
which is it's like you basically take requirements from product managers, turn them into tests so that developers can write scripts on them. So it's mostly asynchronous work,
Okay. All
which is
right.
nice.
And one thing I will recommend that you do, if you have savings something, put money aside for the next year for your business, covering everything from myself to software to growth to whatever. Put money aside and that is money that's almost like you don't touch. So if things change in life, as they always do, you don't start kind of like what companies do. Oh, business is tight. What do they cut? Sales and marketing. I just want to fucking smack them every time they do this. I go, that's what you need to put money towards right now. Maybe cut back on operations and for HR people, go to an outsource company, do something. Don't cut the thing that's bringing in business, but yet
You're already
companies do it all the
chief,
time.
you're already your chief happiness officer.
Seriously. Yeah. I've seen some crazy titles out there, man. Um, and so like I've done that this year too. I have money sitting aside. Well, if you're going to get a car, why don't you just use that money? I said, no, that money's allocated for my business. I may not touch it, but it's there in case I need it. I said, it could be 5 months before you get a job again. I don't know, so I got money just socked away sitting around and you need to budget your life, budget your business.
Yeah.
Number reason people don't get going faster because either A, They don't take steps or actions. That's not you, or they just under forecast what it's going to take to get it off the ground and the help that they need. And I'll come up with ways, and I'm bringing stuff that I've paid money for and gotten over the years to bring to you. Sounds like, oh yeah, pretty stuff. The simplicity is where the freaking investment of time, effort, money has come into, is to make it simple. So you're not guessing. So I'm trying to keep you from jumping on these other things. So your CAG, I think you should have a weekly goal for how many people you get to download your CAG.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think is a good number for that?
10.
Okay. There you go. There's your starting point. So then how are you going to get 10?
Well, probably blast it all over social media and just, be vigilant on social media. If someone brings up like a travel question, like, hey, I got this thing, it's free, no sale, do you want it? Type deal.
Well, I would be a little, I know you're being kind of coy with just what you're going to say, but think like a marketer
Yeah.
when you say that out there. Now, is that link on your email signature?
It's not yet.
Get it up there.
Okay.
Something simple as like, you know, 5 steps, free 5 steps, 5 steps to saving thousands on your next vacation. Free report, or whatever, like free report, download here, click here.
I'll write this
down. Something like that. Just have it on there, like, click below for a free 5-step guide on how to save thousands on your next vacation, or whatever you want to call it, on how to travel more for less or something like that. Have it on there. When you meet people, do you have business cards?
Well, I don't go to networking events that much.
Okay. Have business cards. I don't care if you go to frickin' Vistaprint and get the 250 free. If you go to Staples, I've gone to Staples in the last few times. I needed it last minute. I have a printer friend of mine that does it for me for almost, for a fraction, a lot better quality. But until I decide what I want to have on there, but you should have that as a downloadable on, like, say, either the front or the back of your card.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the, follow this link for a free 5-step guide to save thousands in your next trip and travel more for less. More trips, less money, whatever you want to, how you want to say it, but have it on there, because it is a marketing tool. You can have your main website, you can have your freaking, your call to action, man. And then have, personal email address to get a hold of you, obviously all work related and separate. Have your logo, have a business card. Also talking about also helping me try to fight imposter syndrome. There's something about having business cards on you that makes it more real. When you're out at the store, you're going to the gas station, you're going, just, I've heard of, here, ABC. Oh, you remember that Glenn Ross, Boiler Room, always be closing. You hear that stuff? No, I like ABP, always be prospecting.
Yeah.
It's got to be top of mind all the time. Say, well, when somebody asks you, Rohit, what do you do? What's your answer?
I help people travel more for less money.
Yeah. Say, well, you can say a couple things. I'm in the consulting world where I help, technical people. I said, mainly during the day I do this, but I also own a company that has this. You can say that. You can say both if you want to. I'm gonna tell Mike we're about to end here, but he's just jumping on now. So I would do those. And
I think, you know what I think it was? I think he thought that the updated time was for this week, not next week.
Oh, really? No, it's next week. Mike, you there? No, he's still muted.
That was for next week, not this week. I misread that too.
Yep. I was gonna say, well, because we're about to wrap up. So I'm like, so hi, Mike, how you doing?
Good.
So I'll just finish what I was talking with Rohit. So what I'd like to see this week is, number one, I'm going to help you treat this thing more like a business. Okay. Getting business cards. Number one, get that done. I've gone to Staples. I think I got like 500 for like $20 or something stupid. It's just really cheap. You can go to Vistaprint for free, right? They can get
Yeah.
200, 250 for free.
You get the thing marked on the back of it, and I always see that, and I'm kind of like, oh,
Do they still do that? They don't. All right.
Yeah.
So if you can get them, I don't know, $20, something like that. I don't care what it is. Just get something like that.
20
Have
bucks for
them
100 at Kinko's
What's
or
that?
FedEx. I paid 20 bucks for 100 two-sided at FedEx Kinko's.
Okay. So again, check Staples. They have Staples by you too. I've gone to there because their print center actually has a little decent quality. And again, 20, 30 bucks, something like that. I don't know. I think I got 500 for
20 bucks for 500 there. The machine was broken. That's why I went to FedEx.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so you got that. Number two, I would also spend this week, write out the next 90 days worth of drip emails. Again, you're talking 14 of them, right? That's 14 emails is all that is. Then the third part is then set your schedule, certain times a day, block it out. Make sure you're not, I will caution you when you have a job, don't completely make sure you're putting your best effort in while you're there.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people will tell you like, you know what, screw the job, got a financial future, got no.
I made that mistake once before, and it cost me unbelievable amount of stress, money, bullshit.
Yep.
Never doing that again. I did on the email though. I did have a question. So it sounds like I guess I'm a little confused because I know before we spoke about all right, the flow of I download the CAG. There's 5 emails or whatever associated directly with the CAG, and then it's going to be an additional email campaign on top of that.
What happens is if someone downloads your CAG and in their call to actions, the goal out of that is now obviously you get the information, they get 4 to 8 emails, whatever it is, usually 5 to 8 is usually a good number. And if they don't, and then at one point you need to set up a follow-up call in that towards the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if they don't jump, then, and I know Javi knows how to do this, there's probably in their system somewhere, then they automatically get triggered, or you can just add them, you schedule something, remember, add so to normal drip. Then you just fall into the normal drip.
Okay.
Okay. A very, very successful email marketing campaign, if you get like anywhere from 5 to 20% open rate, that's really good.
Okay.
Actually, 10 to 20% is really good. 20% is awesome, but better than direct mail, which is 1 to 2%. Right. So again, the idea is you stay in front, stay in front, stay in front, stay in front. And the best example I can give you of that, of why it's important just to stay top of mind, and they never usually read the frickin' thing, right, is when one year I decided I was going to do a missions trip. It was going to be international. I didn't know with who or where or what I'd be doing. I decided I just want to go somewhere and serve some other people in another country. So I had all my friends telling me about all these other stuff. And I had signed up probably at least a year or two before from this 20, 30 something group from my church. At one point, well, maybe I like to get involved with that. Nah, I never once opened their emails. I got it, whatever it was, every 2 weeks or month. I don't know what it was. So I'm looking at all these different places. I somehow end up on Habitat for Humanity. And then I go to Habitat for Humanity's trip. This is going on for like 4 months. And then I start applying for Global Village trips, getting nothing. Right. And all of a sudden, another one of these crazy emails comes from this group called Metro 212, Boiling Point. I'll be like, and I don't know why I read it that day. The topic was, oh, we're excited, excited to go to Mexico for a Habitat for Humanity trip. I go, bleh. Oh, reply. And it's a week later, I hear back from them. They say, oh yeah, 20 of us we're leaving next week. Send us a check for $1,200. That's what I learned about when you do mission work. You pay and go, which is interesting. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm volunteering like 2 weeks. Like, no, I pay too. But then it ended up being like 100 people. My point was, I was looking. Had that not come through there, and the guy I went to the game with, the Cubs game on Friday, which I posted on Facebook, that guy I met on that trip 20 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Okay. He works for banks. He's referred people to me. He's sponsored events from me. He's a banker. I've referred some people to him. My point is, you never know. Again, this is the long game. So what part of it was the most important? I don't know. Had they not had that email that I never read one of them, I never read one of them. I probably had 50 of them. That time, the timing was right. I saw it, boom, relationships and everything. And that started the trajectory of my life that at the time came in, which I didn't know I was going to need when everything fell apart. I had to go through this and I was leaving the financial ministry. My wife's coming. I mean, I could walk this thing through how did that get in the email campaign? Because you stayed in contact. It is what most people don't do. The fortune is in the follow-up. So do that this week, get those done, get those other things going, and we'll go from there. And Mike, we're gonna have to catch up later because unfortunately I gotta jump.
Yeah.
So if you want to do me a favor, shoot me an email or update on Slack of what's been going on this week, what you need some help with, and I'll jump on Slack and I can help you on there. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Listen, have a good. Oh, Mike, I do need to talk to you. I'd like to see if I can have you come out here the week of the whatever the hell that is, the 20th or whatever. I move on the 23rd, guys, by the way. So I'll be out of pocket for a few days. And then the week of 4th of July, there's no call. I'm taking that week off. We're going to, as the plan goes, I'm going to work, get settled in that last week of June. And then the week of, then we're going to drive up to Wisconsin to our lake house and get out of here. That's the
John,
plan.
you gotta be careful staying out of pocket around the Gen Zs, because
Why?
that means that means insane. Like, oh, this dude's out of pocket means this dude's gone crazy, or he's
Really? Get out. Out of pocket means that's hilarious. Let's add another thing I'm not supposed to say anymore. It's an ever growing list.
I mean, just don't say it around Gen Z.
That's hilarious. It's funny. My friend and I have to end on this, but a friend of mine were talking about what if we just did the politically incorrect podcast, but made a joke about it and just literally leaned into says, now we would get pushback, but we get a lot of laughter. I said, well, I don't know. Now, this is the same good friend of mine who also, I go to church. He has an atheist website, so we have very polar opposites on a lot of things. I talk about God's will, and his website is called godswill.com. So, yeah. Like I said, if you want to have comparison contrast podcast, I think it actually could work. But anyway, it could also destroy my business. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. All right, guys, listen. All right, listen, have a good week. Rohit, as you're working through that stuff, you have questions, let me know.
All right.
This week could be a very, very simple but significant week for you to get those pieces in place.
Yeah.
It'll help overcome some of that degree of imposter syndrome. The consistency starts getting the feedback. And then the course, we can look at getting that. We can still get that course, but again, get some of that constant posting going on. Yep. Get some feedback. You're going to build your group through other people's groups. Don't expect it to come to you. The organic growth comes from being active in some other groups that are your target audience. Go in there, comment, invite them to your group, give them the link to your CAG. And from that, and then they're going to have the drip campaign. So the drip campaign is key, though. Again, remember, fortune's in the follow-up.
Yep.
All right, guys. Mike, we'll talk to you soon. Let me know what's going on, okay?
You bet. Thanks.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.